A very good evening to one and all present here. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome our campus head, Dr. Mrs. Veena Srivastav, into today's training. Very warm welcome to you, ma'am. It also gives me great pleasure to have with us this evening our principal, Mrs. Madhu Watke, joining us into today's session. And I warmly and quite cordially welcome all of you, my dear beloved colleagues and participants into today's session. I look forward to a very, very interactive session, and I'd love to see some of you having your videos on if you could. I request you to keep your selves on a mute mode. And of course, we'll keep the chat box on at some point in time. I'd like to start today's session with a short prayer and invoke the blessings of the Lord. It's a universal prayer and it's very short. So irrespective of the religions, we can all pray together.
सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै Shanti, Shanti.
Thank you everyone for joining me into this prayer. And as we head out of the prayer, I will soon start sharing my screen. Before that,
મને શું પડી છે પ્રાઇમરી માં રેટું બહુ છે મેડમ
Bansi ma'am and Afreen Malik ma'am, please mute yourselves. Thank you so much.
Yes ma'am, sorry ma'am.
And once again, it gives me immense pleasure to welcome our campus head, Dr. Mrs. Veena Srivastav, with us in this training. Welcome, ma'am. Would you like to enlighten us before we begin? All right, seeking ma'am's blessings and support as always, and welcoming Ma'am Madhu Watke, our principal amongst us. We begin today's session. Please allow me to share my screen. And as you all know, our topic today is National Education Policy 2020. And I'm going to take you through a bird's eye view of this session. This is your resource person and facilitator for today's session, Ms. Khyati Dwarkadas. I head the Department of Social Sciences and I'm the School Training Nodal Coordinator of Gopi Birla Memorial School, Mumbai, Innovation Ambassador and Master Trainer and Resource Person for CBSE. So the framing of the National Education Policy, we must look at the background of the National Education Policy. So where we look at the background, we need to see that when we are framing the National Education Policy, we need to know about the people who had a main role in its framing. And we have Dr. K. Kasturirangan, who has played a very important and pivotal role in the framing of the National Education Policy. Now, also we need to see the policies that preceded the NEP. So before the current NEP of 2020, which were the policies that came up? In 1948, we've had Dr. Radhakrishnan Commission come up, which was between 1948 and 49, and we very well know it as the University Education Commission. In 1952-53 came the Mudaliar Commission, which we also know as the Secondary Education Commission. And the Kothari Commission left a deep impact in 1964-66. Why? Because of the Kothari Commission coming in 1968. We had our first national education policy of sorts being introduced by the Indira Gandhi government. And it was based on the recommendations of that commission of 1964-66. Please mute yourselves, dears. In 1986, we've had the Rajiv Gandhi government launch the National Education Policy, or a new educational policy, focusing on adult education and empowerment of the minorities. But again, this not being a complete policy was modified only in 1992 by the P.V. Narasimha Rao government, adding a common entrance examination for professional and technical examinations and programs. So thus you see, the Kothari Commission brought out two national education policies for us, 68 and 86. And the NEP of 1986 was only modified in 1992. Then we had national curriculum frameworks, which came up in 1975, 88, 2000, 2005. Now the 2005 NCF, we were following till a couple of months back. And it was only modified with a lot of research work going into it. And a lot of research papers were written, executed, and implemented in the NCF 2005. And then in 2020, we've had the National Education Policy being introduced. Now, when we look into the journey of education through the ages, all of us know early Vedic age, we've had a very important system that was the Gurukul system of knowing oneself, salvation, etc. And in the later Vedic age, we had a very Varna-specific, society was divided into Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Shudras. So a very Varna-specific education system came up. And if you are aware of the story from the Chandogya Upanishad of Satyakam Jabali, I think in one of our previous years in the in-house trainings, we've used the story before. So if you're aware of the story of Satyakam Jabali, where the student is not aware of his Varna, he's not aware of his lineage. And he goes to sage Haridrumata Gautam seeking to be inducted into the ashram for education. And then he's sent back to his mother, who tells him that she doesn't know who the father is. She works in many homes. And since the boy comes back and tells sage Haridrumata Gautam that he tells him the truth. He doesn't know who the father is, and this is what the mother has told him. Therefore, the Guru says, since you have told us the truth, you are a true Brahmin, and I will initiate you in my ashram. He is inducted, and he is sent to the forest with a herd of 100 cattle and told not to return till they multiply. So this kind of a Varna-specific education goes on, and the story then continues to also tell us that there is a Satyakam Jabali Upanishad later written in the name of Satyakam Jabali. In the Gupta period, Mauryan period, and the Buddhist era, we know that education was decentralized. A lot of universities came up all over the nation. So now quickly I'll open the chat box, and in the chat box I'd like you to quickly type out. I'll give you 4 options and you can quickly type out which of the following is not a university mentioned in the national education policy. Which of the following is not a university mentioned in the National Education Policy 2020? Your options are A. Nalanda, B. Takshila, C. Usmania, D. Vallabhi. Nalanda, Takshila, Usmania, Vallabhi. My chat box is open and I'm looking forward for jumping answers. And I can barely see one answer coming up. Come on, speed. So Vrushali ma'am is the first one to get the answer correct. Kudos to you, ma'am. Let's clap for you. You are the first one, Vrushali Patil ma'am. The correct answer was Osmania, and she is the first one to get it correct. The Osmania University is the one that is not mentioned in the NEP. And after Vrushali ma'am, we only found the correct answer with Poonam Singh ma'am and Palak Shah and Sunita Pandey, Aarti Bedekar. Thank you very much for giving us the correct answer. So in the later medieval period, we see the Islamic philosophy developing. We know that all the art and architecture, development of science, all of it saw a very Islamic touch. And we know of the Indo-Islamic architecture developing across colonial cities as well as across different regions of our nation. But when we talk of the colonial empire or the British period, we talk of a very English mode of communication. So when we say English mode of communication, we've heard of Macaulay's Minutes and the Wood's Dispatch. So when we heard of these things, we heard that the Britishers wanted us to create or wanted to create babus in the Indians. They did not want us to be the very English people that we are today, but they wanted us to be true babus to serve them. Therefore, they taught us English. And as goes the saying, Angrez chale gaye, Angrezi chhod gaye. Till date, all of us can communicate fluently in English. Let's move further. So with this, the NEP was finally approved by the Union Cabinet of India on 29 July 2020. It outlines the vision of the new education system. The new education policy replaces the previous policy of 1986 and aims to transform India's education system by 2040. Once again, friends, I'd like to bring to your notice that why does the education policy transform by 2040? A child who will take admission in the foundational stage in the coming 1 or 2 years will pass out of grade 12 in 2040. So the transformation will be visible then. It will not happen overnight. That is the main reason for checking out and seeing the transformation. As it is, change cannot happen overnight. Now, when we see the vision of the national education policy, this national education policy aims at building a global best in education system, deeply rooted and aligned with the principles enunciated with the national education policy here, thereby transforming India into a global knowledge superpower. Now, national education policy envisions Access. Access matlab, it is available to everyone. Everyone should be able to go to school. Increase the gross enrollment ratio in school. Equity. Equity in two cases, inclusivity as well as in language. When will the gross enrollment ratio increase? When education is equitably available. Equitably, matlab, there is no barrier. There will be gender equity, there will be disability equity, and there will be linguistic equity. So around 1600 languages used in the nation, and approximately with 780 dialects currently in use. Multilingualism plays a very important role, and we'll come to multilingualism a little later today. Affordability. If education is very, very expensive, students are not going to be able to afford it. So education will be made affordable, and all educational institutions will be made accountable. Plus, quality education will be provided. Now, for providing quality education, we have also got SQA, School Quality Accreditation Audit. Plus, the national education policy will be deeply rooted in Indian ethos, knowledge systems, ethics, and human and constitutional values. A couple of weeks ago, there was a webinar by the Ministry of Education, and Ma'am Anita Karwal addressed all the youth volunteers on it. This is what she had to say as a role of volunteers in the implementation of the national education policy, where she very categorically put forth that efforts will be made to involve community and alumni in volunteer efforts for enhancing learning and providing at schools one-on-one tutoring, teaching of literacy, holding of extra help sessions for those students who are really weak, teaching support and guidance for educators. So we can have CPD sessions, the mandatory 50-hour CPD sessions, career guidance, which is the current theme of training at CBSE for the current year, and mentoring to students and teachers. Extensive field studies and analysis, both in India and across the world, clearly demonstrate that volunteerism and community involvement and mobilization are the key success factors of adult literacy programs. यानी जो लोग पढ़े भी नहीं आज तक स्कूल जाकर, उन्हें भी हम घर घर जाकर पढ़ा सकते हैं. And database of literate volunteers, retired scientists, government, semi-government employees, alumni, and educators will be created under the NEP for this purpose. Then we also have play-based activities being taken up under the Early Childhood Care and Education, ECCE, where they tell us that a child's brain, up to 85%, of a child's brain will develop best by the age of 6. So even if you see your own brain, you are more likely to remember nursery rhymes or poems or alphabets, numbers that you were taught before you came to higher education. So maybe each of you can tell me in the chat box quickly. I'll take up about a couple of answers from you. Which are the nursery rhymes or poems that you best recollect from your early childhood days till you became 6 years old? So Zainab ma'am says Jack and Jill, and Insia ma'am Twinkle Twinkle, Sajada, Johnny Johnny. And Suraya says I hear thunder. Someone just wrote Mary had a little lamb. Palak says Dhobi Aya, lovely. Sunita Pandey ma'am remembers Chanda Mama. And Poonam Keshwani ma'am says Johnny Johnny. So look at this. Most of us remember Johnny Johnny, yes Papa, Mary had a little lamb, Humpty Dumpty. Twinkle Twinkle, Hickory Dickory, Lakde Ki Kathi, ABC Song, Baba Black Sheep, Incy Wincy Spider, and I Hear Thunder. Thank you so much, teachers. So these are the songs we still remember. Why do we not remember the current movie songs? Are we so old? I'm sure we are young at heart. Even the movie numbers that we remember are of when we were in college or when we just passed out of college or we became teachers and we started our careers. Do we remember the current movie numbers? Are they so easy to remember? I think there is some difficulty level associated with our memory. Why? Because our brain has now taken in too much. So that brain development stage is crossed. And prior to the age of 5, every child will move to a preparatory class or Bal Vatika, which has an ECCE qualified teacher. And ECCE will consist ideally of flexible, multifaceted, multi-level, play-based, activity-based, and discovery-based learning systems. What will now be the benefit of quality ECCE? Children are less likely to drop out of schools. There will be reduction in behavioral issues throughout their school journey because children will love school. That is why they will be with us. Improvement in the social skills of the children. We see a lot of misbehavior, but now we will see improvement in their social skills. Since there will be fewer dropout rates, gross enrollment ratio will increase. More likely, students will be more likely to complete secondary and senior secondary education, and better learning outcomes will be met with in the later grades. And we all are currently dealing with learning outcomes in pedagogy through our in-house and CBSE training. So I'm sure it's all fresh in our minds. Now, we don't only talk about a student shift. Today, we are also talking about a teacher shift. Teachers will no longer encourage rote learning. Teachers will shift to competency-based teaching, learning, and assessment. And for that, we have Circular 45 Academics of 2023. If you have not yet read it, do visit it. Circular 45. 45 नंबर का सर्कुलर है एकेडमिक्स वेबसाइट पर सीबीएसई की, जहां पर आपको पता चलेगा that up to grade 9 and 10, the CBSE has mandated 50% competency-based questions across levels, 20% MCQ separate, and 30% short and long answers. But for grade 11 and 12, the CBSE has mandated 40% competency-based questions, 20% MCQs, and 20% short and long answers, or the remaining percent. So you need to check that circular if you have not yet checked it. What are we going to do? Promote critical and creative thinking, aligning it with 21st century classroom skills. We're going to shift from the traditional assessment to competency-focused assessments. We're going to track student progress comprehensively and frequently. So frequently, we are already tracking it, but we will now comprehensively be tracking it. There will be design tools and resources to acquire learning outcomes. So we've all done the CBSE learning outcomes and pedagogy training. We have a fair idea of what learning outcomes and pedagogy is all about. Currently, we are also doing simultaneous in-house training on lesson planning. So we will be in a better position by the end of this week to put all of this together in our daily teaching learning strategies. Reducing curriculum to the core essentials to minimize rote learning, and promoting sport integrated, art integrated learning in classrooms for holistic development. They also talk about concept-based learning, and they talk about integrating art, sports, ICT, toy-based pedagogy, and storytelling. So when we talk of the key principles of NEP, there is respect for diversity and local context in curriculum, pedagogy, and policy. If you visit the CBE resources tab on the academics website, the CBE resources tab covers exactly this: curriculum, pedagogy, and policy. Equity and inclusion is something we've just spoken about. Community participation, I told you CBSE is inviting volunteers for this. Use of technology, particularly for the Divyangjan. So there is also, we attended a seminar on Braille by the CBSE, and the CBSE is also coming up with a common sign language, Indian Sign Language for students with hearing impairment. We also have emphasis on conceptual understanding rather than rote learning. Unique capabilities of the students will be identified in the classroom in every student. Emphasis will be given to critical thinking and creativity, logical decision making, and innovation in students. And continuous review will be based on sustained research and regular assessments by educational experts. For this, we have SQA, Parak, National Testing Agency, and of course the school. So when we look at the transformation of curricular and pedagogical structure, all of us know that the old structure had grade 6, ages 6 to 16 as a 10+2 system. So now quickly in the chat box, let me see who wants to tell me about the new structure. Who wants to tell me about the new structure? What is there? Yes, Aarti Bedekar ma'am, congratulations, 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. So what is in the 5? Anyone who wishes to unmute and speak is also welcome to do so. What is in the 5? What is in the 3? And what is in the 3 and the 4? What comes where in the 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4?
Ma'am, 5
Yes,
is foundational.
okay.
5 is foundational. Then 3 is preparatory. The other 3 would be middle, and 4 will be secondary.
Absolutely. So Sunita Pandey ma'am says nursery to grade 2 is foundational. The next 3 is grade 3 to 5, 6 to 8, and 9 to 12. I'm so happy, that all of us as teachers already know the breakup of 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. So in the foundational stages, you can see on your screens, the multi-level play or activity-based learning for the foundational stage. Preparatory stage of 3 years will have the play way or the discovery way and the activity way of learning. Middle stage will have introduction to math, science, art, and social science, humanities. And secondary stage will have greater thinking, multidisciplinary work, flexibility, student choice of subjects. So the no silos that we know, you can take any subject, math with history to political science to chemistry. Anything is now permitted with an eco or an ENT. It's a no silos system that is introduced by the NEP. Promoting critical, you've just seen this, so I'll move ahead. So salient features of the NEP at the school stage. Focus on teamwork and cooperation will take center stage at the foundational stage. The preparatory stage will talk about emphasis on reading, writing, and speaking. The middle stage will have emphasis on the introduction of science, art, social sciences, and humanities. And the high school or the secondary stage will take you through frequent assessments, flexibility in subjects, greater depth of thinking skills. So when you spoke about early childhood care and education, we know that students through ECCE will be ready with reading, will be able to read with basic comprehension, basic foundational literacy, basic mathematical operations, and learn basic life skills. So when we talk about attainment of foundational literacy and numeracy by grade in the mission mode, you will realize foundational skills where you have universal acquisition of foundational learning skills. National Mission of Foundational Literacy and Numeracy. I think most of us have done the FLN courses of Foundational Literacy and Numeracy on Diksha. Book promotion. National book promotion policy will be formulated and public and school libraries will be expanded. Early learning focus on early reading, writing, and mathematics. 3-month play-based school preparation module for all grade 1 students. That's something new. National repository of high-quality teaching and learning resources will be made available on the Diksha platform. And school libraries and digital libraries will be leveraged. And all of this is happening in FLN by grade 3. We're trying to curtail dropout rates and ensure universal access to education. So I already spoke to you about this in one of the previous slides with community partnership. But the last point on this slide catches your attention. Scope of school education will be broadened to facilitate multiple pathways to learning involving both formal and non-formal education modes, open distance learning or ODL programs, National Institute of Open Schooling NIOS, and state open schools will be expanded and strengthened. So I think since the meeting time is going to run out, I request all of us to exit and rejoin on the same link as soon as it is opened. Thank you. And I will immediately end the meeting so that we can rejoin soon. Welcome back, everyone. I'll just wait for a moment for everyone to join in. It's indeed very nice that you've all joined in so quickly, and I shall not waste your time. Let us immediately start with the presentation. And I shall start from where I had stopped. I'd request everyone to please mute themselves. Thank you so much. You're such darlings. And I'm going to keep the chat box open just in case you wish to write in something. Please feel free to write whatever you'd like to in the chat box. All right, I can see most of us have joined back and I'll start. Thank you for joining back. I welcome you once again. Do keep in mind that attendance can be filled only once, and you need to get your qualifying 60% score in order for certification. So highlights of the pedagogical structure have been competency-based education, and like I told you about Circular 45 academics, the 10% increase in competency-based questions, integration of subjects through art, sports, ICT, storytelling, and toy-based pedagogy now, development of scientific temper, where you have human and constitutional values being inculcated in the students. So in the chat box or by unmuting, however you feel comfortable, tell me, when does the nation celebrate the Constitution Day? When does the nation celebrate the Constitution Day? Absolutely, Pramila ma'am. Kudos to you. Thank you so much. Pramila ma'am, Fatima Fonseca is not very right, and neither is Suraya. But Pramila ma'am, congratulations, and Shimna ma'am following soon. It is 26 November because the Constitution was adopted by we the people of India on this day of 26 November 1949. So that is the day we celebrate as the Constitution Day. So we also have inculcated in our students spirit of patriotism, non-violence, truth, honesty, peace, integrity, etc. Then, as I told you, no silos, no compartment among subjects. Students can choose any of the subjects they choose to or wish to pursue from the list of subjects given by the CBSE. Emphasis on digital literacy, coding, computational thinking, ethical and moral reasoning, and multilingual teaching. Multilingual teaching has taken a very, very important role in the NEP. Then the 21st century skills that we try to inculcate in our students are collaboration, critical thinking, digital literacy, problem solving, communication, creativity, health and fitness, social responsibility, ethics, and scientific temper. Introduction of contemporary subjects, which are very new and very much the in thing: artificial intelligence, holistic health, data science, organic living, design thinking, machine learning. A year-long course for grade 6 to 8 will be undertaken on survey and hands-on experience of sampling of important vocational crafts like carpentry, electric work, metal work, gardening, pottery making, etc. And this can also be decided with the help of states and local communities as mapped by the local skilling needs. So this can go as a year-long course for a hands-on vocational experience. Mathematics and computational thinking have really made a big move in the education sector in the last couple of years. So increased emphasis throughout school years, starting with the foundational stage on mathematics, use of a variety of innovative methods, including regular use of puzzles, games that make mathematical thinking more enjoyable and more engaging, introduction of activities involving coding in the middle stage. Then we have, when we say emphasis on 10 vocational education, we think about those 10 bagless days and what will we do in those 10 bagless days. So for grade 6 to 8, there are 10 bagless period days to intern with local experts. So when I told you earlier, a year-long course, it can be done in the 10 bagless days. Internship opportunities to learn vocational subjects throughout grade 6 to 12. And vocational courses can also be learned in an online mode. periodic exposure to activities outside school, like meeting local artists, local craftsmen, vocational courses offered through open and distance learning mode. And according to the NEP, by 2025, at least 50% of the learners shall have exposure to vocational education. Then knowledge of India, the success, the modern environment that India has, Indian knowledge systems, tribal traditions, medicinal practices. In fact, Indian knowledge systems is now a full-fledged course offered by the CBSE at grade 11 and 12. And it's a very, very essential course according to the NEP, which is now being made available. And it's an engaging course on Indian knowledge systems at the secondary school as an elective. Competitions in school for learning various topics and subjects through fun and indigenous games, video documentaries. Students can visit different states as a part of cultural exchange programs. Deep constitutional values can be instilled in them. And a knowledge of critical issues facing the local community, states, and the country and the world will be assigned. Health education has also made its way in the CBSE curriculum. We have a core scholastic subject called Health and Physical Education, HPE, which is a part of the core scholastic subjects of health, HPE, art, and work experience. These are the three core scholastic subjects followed by discipline in the report cards. So health and physical education does not only mean those 2 PT periods that the kids love every week. Health and physical education also will include mental health and well-being, nutrition, school health and wellness, which is a new module developed by CBSE for capacity building in teachers, personal and public health and hygiene, first aid, detrimental and damaging effects of alcohol, tobacco, and other drugs. All of this will go under HPE. Then we have leveraging the power of multilingualism and language learning, where students up to grade 5 and preferably till grade 8 be taught in their mother tongue, home language, or local language. And a fun project activity, Languages of India, needs to be undertaken by every school for grade 6 to 8 to familiarize them with the diversity of languages in the country. So on which date in 2022 was the Languages of India project celebrated by the CBSE? You may unmute or use the chat box. 2022 के किस दिन पर लैंग्वेजेस ऑफ इंडिया डे CBSE द्वारा सेलिब्रेट किया गया था? You may write in the chat box or you may choose to unmute. क्या मेरी आवाज आप तक पहुंच रही है? I'm quite surprised nobody is writing or unmuting. Anu ma'am has got it right for a change. Congratulations, Anu ma'am. I feel like we are all playing quizzes with dates here and chronology. But thank you so much, Anu ma'am. Kudos to you. Let's clap for Anu ma'am for getting the answer correct. It was December 11, 2022. And that was the day when the fun project activity, Languages of India, was celebrated by CBSE. We did not celebrate it being a Saturday. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing this screen. I want you to watch this on YouTube. So I'll just play a little and I will expect that all my knowledgeable friends here will be able to answer my questions thereafter. Kindly allow me to share my screen very, very quickly. And we will proceed.
तो सुर बने हमारा। सुर की नदियाँ हर दिशा से बह के सागर में मिले, बादलों का रूप लेकर बरसे हल्के हल्के, मिले सुर मेरा तुम्हारा, तो सुर बने हमारा, मिले सुर मेरा तुम्हारा।
So the question is in the chat box.
तरज थई म्यान तरज इकवट बनिए सान तरज।
तेरा सुर मिले मेरे सुर दे नाल, मिलके बने एक नवा सुर ताल।
Purvi ma'am is very close.
मिले सुर मेरा तुम्हारा,
Neeta
तो
ma'am is
सुर बने
closer. But
हमारा।
Sunita Pandey gets it all correct. Perfect, bang on correct. Beautiful
मुंहिंजो सुर
Sunita
तुंहिंजे
Pandey.
सां प्यारा
Pramila
मिले
Raghupati,
जॾहिं,
Sajida
गीत
Sayyar.
असांजो मधुर तरानो
Sajida
बणे
Sayyar did not get
तॾहिं।
it all correct. But
सुर का
yes,
दरिया बह के सागर में मिले,
बदलांदा रूप
Priya
लेके,
Jain.
बरसन होले होले।
There are 14 languages. Beautiful. So I'm going to stop sharing the screen and we'll head on back to multilingualism. I request you all to log into Mentimeter. I know
मैम
everybody
चलने
has.
गाना अच्छा लग रहा है।
सॉरी नहीं, चलने नहीं दे सकते ना, हमारे पास और बहुत कुछ है करने के लिए।
यस मैम, यस मैम।
आपको हम बोर तो नहीं कर रहे हैं? I have a lot to do with you. So I wish you to log into Mentimeter. I'll share my Menti screen so you get the link to Mentimeter. Menti.com. Use the code 16074364. Menti.com. Use the code 16074364. In your native language, आपकी मातृभाषा में आपको शब्द भारत टाइप करना है। याद रहे, आपकी मातृभाषा होनी चाहिए और मेंटीमीटर में टाइप करना है। मैंने 9 लोगों को देखा है जुड़ते हुए। आपको अपनी मातृभाषा में भारत शब्द, जिसे अपनी मातृभाषा में टाइपिंग नहीं आता, गूगल ट्रांसलेटर खोल सकता है। गूगल ट्रांसलेटर में इंग्लिश में टाइप कीजिए, मातृभाषा का नाम सामने डालिए और मातृभाषा में आएगा शब्द, कॉपी पेस्ट करके मेंटीमीटर में लगाइए। पर ये एक्टिविटी मैंने पहले भी बहुत बार की हुई है, तो आपको दिख रहा है कि जब लोग अपनी मातृभाषा में लिखते हैं तो बड़ा प्यारा लगता है। Pinsia ma'am, you have to write it in Mentimeter. Neeta Shah, in Mentimeter we have to write that. So we can see it's come in all kinds of languages are coming up. सरिता दुबे मैम, मेंटीमीटर में लिखना है, हमें मेंटीमीटर में जाना है। मैंने मेंटीमीटर की लिंक चैट बॉक्स में भी डाल रखी है। और हम देख रहे हैं कितने प्यार से लोग मेंटीमीटर में जुड़ रहे हैं। Very well done. So I will keep the Menti screen on. Maybe later, after some time, we can check it out if time permits. आप में से कितने लोगों ने मेंटी पर क्या क्या किया है? तो मेंटी के गुल क्या खिलाए हैं हम थोड़ी देर बाद भी देखेंगे. अभी भी I can see people writing beautiful things on my Menti screen और मुझे बड़ा अच्छा भी लग रहा है कि आप लिख रहे हैं. So now I'll go back to the PPT. That's where I was. So there is one thing called the People's Linguistic Survey of India. And it's also called the Pari Portal, People's Archive of Rural India. So on the Pari Portal, you will find this, that the People's Linguistic Survey talks about 780 languages being present in 86 different scripts in our country. But in terms of provision for schooling, only it is available up to class 7. That is just 4% of those students are covered. And most Indian languages are spoken in rural India. And in the 8th schedule of the Constitution, we have 22 recognized languages, which are the official languages of the nation. However, out of the 780 languages, only 22 languages have made it to the Constitution. There are languages in Meghalaya, in the Garo, Khasi hills, where the languages of the people are Khasi and Garo, and they have not made their way to the 22 official languages. Plus, in Odisha, our partner state at EBSB, Ek Bharat Shresth Bharat, Art Integrated State Odisha, that is home to around 44 tribal languages. And the Linguistic Survey reckons that close to 220 languages have died out only in the last 50 years. And don't miss that, Saimar in Tripura is down to its last 7 speakers. After these 7 speakers, this language of Saimar will not even exist. That is the main reason why multilingualism was introduced across schools according to the NEP. That if we do not speak these languages, if we do not teach our children these languages, they will never learn their mother tongue. So multilingualism is a phenomenon derived from the need to communicate in more than 3 languages. Multilingual person is also called a polyglot, and he can read, write, think, speak, and express in multiple languages. And multilingualism will empower individuals and transform societies. We may be personally multilingual, but we should be able to create a sense of multilingualism in our learners. So when we look at what the NEP has to say for multilingualism, we know that up to grade 5 and then if possible to grade 8, education in the mother tongue, home language, local language. Thereafter, home language shall be continued to taught wherever possible. And this will not be done only in government schools, but it will be followed in public and private schools. So we cannot be under the impression that because it is written in the NEP, it will only be the KVs following it. The NEP particularly mentions it will be done by public and private schools. High quality textbooks in math and science in particular will be made available in the home language or the mother tongue. We already know that textbooks are easily available in English and Hindi. Many textbooks are now available in Urdu as well. And slowly the NCERT has taken up this humongous task and the Herculean task, of translating textbooks into all the languages. In the next couple of years, all 22 languages of the Schedule 8 of the Indian Constitution will have a textbook for themselves. States may enter. Now, when we go multilingual, where will we find teachers? That's a major question. So states may enter into bilateral agreements to hire teachers from each other. You give me a Gujarati teacher, I give you a Marathi teacher. That kind of an agreement will happen. The 3-language formula which existed will continue to exist, where the children will be given the choice of choosing between the state, region, so 2 languages there, and one will be their mother tongue or the state language, one could be a foreign language, and one could be the medium of instruction. And like I told you in the beginning of today's session, Indian Sign Language will continue to exist for the hearing impaired. And the HRD minister has mentioned that wherever possible in the future, even beyond the grade 8, mother tongue will be continued to be used. And why education in the mother tongue? It has to be made enjoyable, interactive, conversational, plenty of reading, writing, and fun. So you will use gamification, art, music, poetry, dramatization, theater for language learning. Reading and writing of other 2 languages will start in class 3 and beyond. Sanskrit will be taught at all levels as a classical language. And with Sanskrit, there will be an interdisciplinary approach with math, philosophy, grammar, music, politics, medicine, architecture, metallurgy, drama, poetry, and storytelling. Students whose medium of instruction has been the local language or mother tongue will shift to bilingual in class 6, and they will be aware of English by class 9. And then we spoke about already the Languages of India project for grades 6 to 8. So apart from Indian languages and English, international languages can also be offered by schools like Korean, Japanese, Thai, French, German, Spanish, and Russian. For classical languages, innovative methodology, integration of technology, experiential learning, online modules, all will be given to school students. And the option of learning it at least at 2 levels minimum, though it will be introduced at all levels. So the student can choose whether he wants to do it at the foundational, middle, or secondary level. But he has to do it at 2 levels. Then we have the Ek Bharat Shresht Bharat app. So I have the app on. What I'm going to do is I want to show you the EBSB app. You can go there. It is the Bhasha Sangam app. Are you able to see the Bhasha Sangam app? Could someone please?
Not yet, ma'am.
Sorry?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am. Okay,
Not
okay.
yet, ma'am.
Okay, I will stop this screen share and reshare the screen to allow you to see the Bhasha Sangam. This is the Bhasha Sangam app. And this app talks about 2 characters. It is available for free on your App Store, Google App Store or Play Store. And it is India's first Atmanirbhar app powered by Multibhashi. There are 2 characters, Bharat and Vani, and they will take you through learning of 22 official languages on the Bhasha Sangam app. You can go for live demos, practical lessons, greetings. 100+ sentences can be learned in 22 official languages of the nation. At the end, there is always the catch. If you pass the test, you get this beautiful certificate empowered by the Ministry of Education, Government of India, in appreciation for your learning a new language. So it's a completely free course. Those of you who wish to...
Khyati ma'am,
Yes,
आपने
ma'am.
ऐप शेयर किया है क्या? दिखाई नहीं दे रहे यहाँ पे कुछ भी.
Shared screen hai. Are you able to see the screen?
Yes,
No,
ma'am,
ma'am.
we can.
Yes,
Some
ma'am.
of them might have issues.
Yes, ma'am.
We others can.
Okay, thank you. So it is easily available on Google Play or your app store, and you can see this thing is moving on. In all languages, it is telling you, आप लोग ट्रेन में बैठकर भी एक भाषा सीख सकते हैं. And the test can happen only once, so सोच समझकर परीक्षा दे. So I'll stop sharing the Bhasha Sangam app. It is a very good initiative of the EBSB. Ek Bharat, Shreshth Bharat. Okay, something's gone wrong. I think I forgot to stop share. Okay. Now, we shall also move to seeing some new things about multilingualism. Obviously, I want to show you a song that you all love and will love. So I'll show you the song first. Thanks to Ma'am Sunita Pandey, I am able to bring this song in front of all of you today. If you know the song, you are welcome to sing along at home on mute mode.
आगच्छन्तु आगच्छन्तु क्षेत्रं पश्यन्तु आगच्छन्तु आगच्छन्तु क्षेत्रं पश्यन्तु
क्षेत्रे अस्ति एका धेनुः
अम्बा अम्बा हो
धेनुः अस्ति वृषभः अस्ति
अम्बा अम्बा हो
हम्बा अत्र हम्बा तत्र हम्बा हम्बा सर्वत्र
अम्बा अम्बा हो आगच्छन्तु आगच्छन्तु क्षेत्रं पश्यन्तु आगच्छन्तु आगच्छन्तु क्षेत्रं पश्यन्तु
क्षेत्रे अस्ति एकः अजः अजः अस्ति अजा च अस्ति बै बै अत्र बै बै तत्र बै 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 सर्वत्र
All right, so in the meantime, you can tell me which nursery rhyme of English does this song meet?
Old MacDonald had a farm.
Very good, ma'am. I can't see you, so I cannot recognize you. But in any case, whoever answered, thank you so much for the answer. Could you also tell me your name?
Poonam Pandit.
Thank you, ma'am. So it's great, you know, that I hope you're also enjoying the songs that we are playing. There is one more song I have for you. When we talk about instilling the spirit of patriotism, we can play this song and try and inculcate the spirit of patriotism into our learners. So there is this one very nice song.
Baba Kids.
You can sing along the song at home too, on mute mode. Ehi ehi veer re. Once again, acknowledgement and
एहि
credit to
वीर
Sunita Pandey,
रे
ma'am.
वीरतां विदेहि रे भारतस्य रक्षणाय जीवनं प्रदेहि रे
एहि एहि वीर रे वीरतां विदेहि रे भारतस्य रक्षणाय जीवनं प्रदेहि रे त्वं हि मार्गदर्शकः त्वं हि देशरक्षकः त्वं हि शत्रुनाशकः कालनागतक्षकः एहि एहि वीर रे वीरतां विदेहि रे भारतस्य रक्षणाय जीवनं प्रदेहि रे साहसी सदा भवे वीरतां सदा भजे भारतीय संस्कृति मानसे सदा धरे एहि एहि वीर रे वीरतां विदेहि रे भारतस्य रक्षणाय जीवनं प्रदेहि रे एहि एहि वीर रे वीरतां विदेहि रे भारतस्य रक्षणाय जीवनं प्रदेहि रे पदं पदं मिले चलेत सोत सहं मनो भवेत् भारतस्य गौरवाय सर्वदा जयो भवे एहि एहि वीर रे वीरतां विदेहि रे भारतस्य रक्षणाय जीवनं प्रदेहि रे एहि एहि वीर रे वीरतां विदेहि रे भारतस्य रक्षणाय जीवनं प्रदेहि रे So I too hope you liked and the song. I wouldn't expect you to subscribe to it, but I do hope you liked the song. And these are songs which can be used to inculcate patriotism and also bring in interest into the teaching learning process. So it will not be a lot of learning for students. While learning, they can also have fun. Now I will head back to the presentation and I shall reshare my main screen. There is also a calendar, you can show the students. And this kind of a calendar is mainly used to show the students all the tithis, dates, all the months in one screen, festivals. So you're showing the Gregorian, solar, lunisolar and lunar calendar all in one. And now you can see everything is there. This was 24th October 2022, which was the Diwali day. So you can see it across months, across calendars. There is one more image I have of a similar calendar. And when we have these kind of calendars up in the classroom, the children will automatically become tolerant towards multilingual education. So with Sanskrit, you can also include, the CBSE and the NEP say that you can have Tamil, Telugu, Kannada, Malayalam, Odia, Pali, Persian and Prakrit, which will be preserved for pleasure and posterity. And to have multilingualism as a strategy in the classrooms, it will be used as a resource and a strategy. You can have storytelling competitions in multilingual languages. You can have multilingual inter-house dance and skit and song competitions. You can have celebration of Republic Day, Independence Day, and other important days in multilingual formats. And you can see a house board over here, which talks with the growth mindset board. The word I can has been written in 48 languages on this board. So something, the word cloud that we did on Mentimeter, something similar can be done in our classrooms or on a particular day. And we can motivate our students to be multilingual. This we have done in one of our previous in-house trainings last year, so I will not be playing it. This is the Saral Bhasha Sanskritam song. I will not be playing it again. So there was also the Johnny Johnny rhyme I had with you as a sign language. You had to identify it. But I will go straight forward into the characteristics of a multilingual classroom. And you will understand that the spirit of global citizenship can be inculcated into a multilingual classroom through multilingualism. And multilingualism has a different characteristic at urban schools. rural schools, and it has to, the teacher first needs to be tolerant. The teacher needs to increase vocabulary, be multilingual himself or herself, and then spread the message to all. The National Curriculum Framework for School Education will make textbooks available in all languages. Then when we come to assessment, I told you, will be competency based. There will be a school-based board exam for grade 3, 5, and 8. For grade 10 and 12, the board exam will continue. Once again, achievement of basic learning outcomes will be done through assessment of core concepts and knowledge from national and local curricula with relevant higher order thinking skills and application of knowledge in real life situations rather than rote memorization. This is a very, very important slide. So if you haven't yet made note of it, make note of it. And report cards will no longer be called report cards. We will have redesigned our report cards to call them 360-degree holistic progress cards. With all the usual things that you have in a report card, now you will have project-based, inquiry-based learning. You will have assessment of quizzes, role plays, group work, and portfolio. You will have self and peer assessment, teacher assessment, interactive questionnaires for parents, teachers, and students, which will be mentioned there, and progress in the cognitive, affective, and psychomotor domains. So just as John Dewey has told us, experiential learning theory, Gandhiji has used Bunyadi Talim. All of this meets together with Bloom's taxonomy of cognitive, affective, and psychomotor. Thank you for quickly joining in. As I was telling you, now it will be, I think I should wait for a moment more. A lot of people are joining us. Apologies, I forgot to keep track of that meeting end. So as I was talking to you about the holistic progress card, it will no longer be a regular report card. It will be inclusion of all things. So there will be a progress in project-based, inquiry-based learning, quiz, role play, group work, portfolio, self-assessment, peer assessment, interactive questionnaire, teacher assessment, and there will be cognitive, affective, and psychomotor domains being assessed. So now I told you we will have Gandhiji's Bunyadi Talim or Nai Talim, where he talks about using the hand, head, and heart. John Dewey, father of constructivism in his or experiential learning, he uses experiential learning, hand, head, and heart. And Bloom's taxonomy connects all three domains for us using the hand, the head, and the heart, the cognitive, affective, and the psychomotor domain. Psychomotor is the hand, affective is the heart, and cognitive is the brain. All of this will now be a part of the holistic progress card. Guidelines for assessment will come by NACSE and NCFSE. NACSE is the National Assessment Center for School Education. And of course, there will be shifting assessment patterns to meet the skill requirements of the 21st century. Teachers will not be left out by the NEP. Teachers have a 4-year integrated B.Ed, which will now be a minimum degree for employment into schools by 2030. For applicants who have a bachelor's degree, they can go for a 2-year B.Ed and 1-year B.Ed for students who've done a 4-year multidisciplinary bachelor's degree and have obtained a master's degree in a specialty. They can do a 1-year B.Ed. But all B.Ed programs will include time-tested technique and pedagogy, multi-level teaching and evaluation. Teaching children with disabilities, inclusive education is on its way. Teaching children with special interest, talents, use of educational technology, learner-centered and collaborative learning. So teachers will also be given the National Professional Standards for Teachers test, which was developed last year. The testing will now start. TETs are there. We already know the CTET is there. There are multiple modules, but beware. Many of us do get this question कि जब 4 वर्ष के B.Ed के बाद टीचर आएंगे तब हमारा क्या होगा? हम तो इतने सालों से पढ़ा रहे हैं. आप तभी सुरक्षित रहोगे जब आप अच्छे से कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग प्रोग्राम्स करोगे, उनको सीखोगे और उनको अपने कक्षाओं में अप्लाई करोगे. तभी आप वो 4 वर्ष के B.Ed करने के बाद आए हुए टीचर से बेहतरीन शिक्षक रहोगे. So beware of the capacity building programs that we do. We are not here for the hours, we are here for the learning. So NEP supports and aims to nurture teachers through all phases of their tenure, preparation, recruitment, deployment, transfer in the classroom and professional development. And there will be continuous professional development. We already are doing it. We are one of those lucky schools where teachers' average of CPD has reached over 80% or 80 hours last year. Congratulations to all of us for working very hard. You may clap for yourselves. And yes, you can see that teachers are developing 21st century teaching learning skills. Anganwadi workers and teachers will be trained with FLN. Inclusion and equity will become the key. Equitable education will be made available. For the students who are economically and in the socio-economically disadvantaged groups, उनके लिए भी NEP ने बहुत सारे options रखे हुए हैं. For gender equity, there is a transgender fund. For SC, ST, OBC and minorities, work is going on. Students from villages, towns, and aspirational districts will have geographical identities. Students with learning disabilities and the CWSN are already given concessions. And socio-economic conditions, students are students with low-income household, vulnerable homes, broken homes, victims of trafficking, orphans, etc. So separate strategies will be used in school education for them. Then we have efficient resourcing and governance through school complexes and clusters. This is where you have the Sahoday school complexes and hubs of learning coming into play. Now what happens is every school will not have all the resources required. In such a situation, the hub of learning schools, which would be about 8 to 10 schools of the vicinity, can share their resources, pool their resources, and use them for the benefit of the children. Simultaneously, Sahoday school complexes or the cluster schools or the group schools can come together, pool in their resources, and do their best for the student benefit. Always keep the students at the core of learning, at the heart of learning. And quickly, before we end for today's session, I'd like to show you the initiatives taken by the CBSE and the Government of India in implementing the NEP till date. So we already know competency-based education has made its way with 50% competency-based questions in grade 10 and 40% in grade 12. NEP has set up SQA. SQA pilot is already on. Webinars of SQA are on. And we are lucky that our principal has also attended the webinar on SQA and will soon, our school may be implementing SQA sooner or later. Then we already have the pilot project for SAFAL in grade 3, 5 and 8. The board has started with the SAFAL pilot project with constant examinations. And now within a year or two, it will be mandatory for all schools to take up the examination in grade 3, 5 and 8. Also, we have learned about item writing through British Council, Azim Premji and EI. We have learned it through CBSE capacity building programs. Paper setting we have learned. And we already know that assessment has 3 parts: assessment of learning, for learning, and as learning. So when you talk about assessment of learning, which is that assessment that I'm talking about? Anybody can unmute and say it quickly. Which is assessment of learning? Nobody wants to answer. How about Keshwani ma'am?
Ma'am, is it the assessment that we do on a daily basis at the end of our classes?
Ma'am, assessment of learning is a summative assessment, term end.
Okay.
Assessment for learning is the regular,
is the one that I was talking about,
assessment,
yes.
which is your MA and SEA, multiple assessment and subject enrichment. And assessment as learning is a constant cataloging of student work, which we take under as portfolio. That is the way assessment is categorized. So thank you, Keshwani ma'am. And with this, we already know that 50 hours capacity building of teachers is mandatory. We are already doing 25 hours CBSE and 25 hours in-house. And the board has made 36 manuals to handhold teachers, and it comes up with more and more manuals daily on the training portal on the CBSE academics website. Please go through the handbooks and manuals. Circulars and initiatives for art integration, circular 33, 2019 or 20, followed by a circular of December, the very first circular of December 2022 for art integration, then sports integration. Principals as pedagogical leaders and the preparation of pedagogical plans or the annual pedagogical plans, an extensive 5-day training was conducted for all teachers, all principals, of CBSE schools, where they were taught extensively and mentored for 3 months about how to create annual pedagogical plans. Implementation of experiential learning pedagogies like art integration, sport integration, storytelling, gamification, etc. Math and Hindi was always at 2 levels. English is at 2 levels. Sanskrit will also be made available at 2 levels from this year. Introduction of 9 vocational courses of 12-hour duration in grade 6 to 8 in 2020. But now we also have skill subjects as the 6 subjects. So there are 33 skill subjects in grade 6 to 8. Close to 18 or 20 in grade 9 and 10, and many more in grade 11 and 12. The entire exhaustive list is available on the CBSE website. Do go through it. Ensuring competency-based education. So you have learning outcomes, critical and creative thinking, practice tests, CBQ, PQ, all of it is easily available. Mandatory online training on experiential learning. We've all done it on Diksha, and competency-based education through British Council, Azim Premji and EI. Development of resource material, handbooks on experiential learning, teacher training, teacher resources, achievement of learning outcomes, and teacher energized resource manuals. All of this is available on the CBSE website. Please do make use of the website. Student enrichment activities include the Aryabhat Ganit Challenge, CBSE in Heritage India Quiz, Ek Bharat Shresth Bharat activities, CBSE Science Challenge, which we just did last week in our school, Science Exhibition, Khelo India, Expression Series, and Reading Challenge. Storytelling was also introduced. Now, last year on 29 July, when the nation celebrated 2 years of NEP, I'd like someone to please mute. Somebody is very loud. Please mute yourself. Mobile applications for public consultation survey for National Curriculum Framework was formed, and more than 1 crore people have given their suggestions. So NCF at the foundational stage is out, and the secondary stage is already out for opinion poll. Setting up of 200 virtual labs where 10 crore students and 10 lakh teachers have been beneficiaries. India compliant Vidya Samiksha Kendra has been set up where you can see. Can we mute this person? Somebody please mute. Thank you so much. So India has become it's a national digital education architecture, and you can see it is for teachers, central government, state government, stakeholders, private enterprises, students, and parents. Everyone will be covered under it. And it's a detailed data collection of all the stakeholders. Then you have the Vidya Amrit portal acknowledging micro improvement and transformation in education, where you have Diksha, the digital infrastructure, and all of us are a part of Diksha. Learning initiatives have also been created using Diksha and Nishtha portals. National Initiative for School Heads and Teachers Holistic Advancement, Nishtha 4.0 for ECCE has come up. Master trainers are being created to train and mentor students and teachers. Building vocational education for a bright future for Diksha is also up. School innovation policy with all of us being innovation ambassadors, creativity, ideation and innovation, problem solving and entrepreneurship skills to be built in the students, new age skills coming up with 6 future skills for qualification in 100 plus areas. And you have India becoming the skill capital of the world. We did see about it in the G20 initiative of the in-house training programs. Skill Hubs initiative has been formed, which is the Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana of the government of India. It's also made its way in the grade 8 geography textbook. Then there has been a lot of work done for the youth of the nation, which is industry-led and linked to market. 1.53 lakh applicants have been trained, linking vocational education with higher education, with national skill training institutes, ITIs, Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Kendras, Jan Shikshan Sansthans, IGNU, and 500 plus MOUs have been signed with a variety of institutions to make NEP a very, very successful part of an integral part of our school and country's lives. The 10th thing that came in was e-launch of IKS, or the Indian Knowledge Systems Mela at AICTE in New Delhi from 29 to 31st July last year. And AICTE with MIC and the Ministry of Education partnered for the Indian Knowledge System Mela, where the program of technology demonstration was conducted. Indian culture and knowledge systems, knowledge was demonstrated. You can see the Panchamodhyay of Paramparik Gyan Pranali. 75 national games have been introduced in schools. Weather forecasting, has also led to certain games which can be played in certain seasons. So that has also been made available. Kalashala initiative has been undertaken in 750 schools where students will learn the dance forms and art forms and kalas of all the states and regions. तो भारत के विभिन्न कला स्वरूपों से परिचित कराया जाएगा 750 schools में बच्चों को. So with this, I'd like to express my heartfelt gratitude to our campus head, Dr. Mrs. Veena Srivastav, for gracing today's in-house training with her august presence. And I hope she's enjoyed the training. Thank you very much, ma'am, for joining us. I'd like to express my heartfelt gratitude to our principal, ma'am Madhu Bhatke, for joining us and enlightening us with her gracious presence. Thank you very much, all my dear colleagues, participants, and friends, for being interactive and participative in the training. I hope the learning continues. Happy learning. Thank you very much. I am resharing the attendance link in the chat box. And while you are filling in the attendance, I am open to questions, I am open to comment, and I am open to anything that you wish to ask me. Please don't hesitate. And in case you think I bored you to death, you are welcome to mention that as well.
Thank you, ma'am. Lovely videos, huh, ma'am?
My pleasure.
Khyati ma'am.
धन्यवाद महोदया
हाँ जी, सुनीता
बहु
ma'am.
उत्तमः कार्यशाला अस्ति.
Thank you, ma'am.
Khyati
Sunita ma'am.
ma'am.
हाँ जी.
It was just amazing, amazing. शब्द ही ने आपके लिए कुछ कहने के लिए. इतना सुंदर, इतने कम समय में आपने सब कुछ बता दिया. And it went so easily. Really amazing. Thank you so much, Khyati ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, Khyati ma'am. Amazing session.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, Khyati ma'am. It was really very nice and informative session.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, ma'am. I will also have the gallery view so I can see who is talking.
Thank you, ma'am. What about the Mentimeter?
Mentimeter, the word cloud is there.
Thank you,
I
ma'am.
can, yes, thank you, sir. I can show you the Menti if you still are interested. I thought not many would be interested. Yes, ma'am.
Khyati ma'am, thank you
Yes.
ma'am. और हमें एंगेज रखने के लिए और इंटरेस्टिंग सेशन के लिए थैंक यू सो मच मैम.
Thank you so much, dear.
Informative session ma'am. Thank you so much ma'am.
Thank you. So I think Parvati ma'am wanted to see the Menti screen. I will just reshare it for her. Parvati ma'am, this is what the Menti screen now looks like.
Okay. Oh, it's nice. It's interesting. Aryavart.
Yes, Aryavart and Bharat and people writing anybody's names are also there. But yes,
Yes, I can spot mine.
So the effort that people have taken to put in their native language really makes a difference. Thank you so much, dear teachers. I do believe that I was able to keep you engaged throughout the session. Thank you, Ritu ma'am. It was such a pleasure to have you with us. And Rosina ma'am, thank you so much for being with us today. You've been so participative.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Lovely session. Very informative.
So if we are done, I think we can end today's session. I'll be sharing the links soon. Attendance link is on. You may copy it. And
Thank you, Khyati ma'am. A lovely session.
Thank you so much, Vaishali
All
ma'am.
the key points were covered so quickly. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Thanks.
Thank you so much all. Let us exit. Happy learning.